Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to the latest episode of Musical Musings, airing every Wednesday at 1 p.m. This program is broadcast from Rajamachan University of Technology, Peranakan. It'll come to you in two parts. The first part, we will introduce a song, we'll talk about the band that sings it, and discuss its main themes, like what the song is about. Then for the second part, after we listen to the song, we will analyze the lyrics, those are the words to the song, and we will especially focus on any words or phrases that may be difficult to understand. After the program, we will have the news and the latest updates from the university, as always.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Gary Gray, and I am your host for the Musical Musings program. I am an English teacher here at Rajamachan University of Technology, Peranakan. So, for today's song, we are going to do Miss Amerrica. It is a song by a band named Styx. So we're going to start out first. We'll talk a little bit about the band Styx. Now, those of you who are familiar with our program, you probably know by now that I like to use a lot of older bands. First of all, a lot of older Western music seems to be quite popular here in Thailand. For example, almost everyone here in Thailand knows the song Take Me Home, Country Roads by John Denver, which is a very old song. It came out in the 1970s. So those types of songs do tend to be popular here. Also, in case they're not popular, like this song that we're going to do today, I think is probably not very popular. Most of you will not know it. I'd like to introduce you to new songs that you don't know. So if we're doing too many new songs, too much recent music, those might be songs that you already know. So I like to focus on some older music. And that's the case here with Styx. Now, I say it's older music. They are actually still performing, which is pretty amazing because they've been around a long time. Styx, that is spelled S-T-Y-X, by the way, not Styx like S-T-I-C-K-S. No, S-T-Y-X. Styx. They have been around since the 1960s. And yes, they are still performing, which is pretty amazing. In fact, a lot of bands who have been performing that long, they've changed a lot of their members and things like that. And so you don't even have a lot of the same original members. And because it's been so long, a lot of them may have actually even passed away, a lot of the original members. We don't really see that too much here with Styx. I believe, I'm actually forgetting, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe one of their band members actually did pass away fairly recently. There are a pair of brothers, John and Chuck Panozzo, who are in the band, and I believe one of them did pass away recently. Interestingly, the one who passed away is not the one who had been sick for quite a while. One of those brothers actually had AIDS and, still has, because I believe he's still alive. He still has it, and fortunately, he came down with it just at the time when we started getting medicine for treating it better. Back in the 1980s and 1990s, if you got HIV or AIDS, that was pretty much you were gonna die from it. It was pretty sad. I had a few friends who have passed from it. But as we started getting into the 2000s, they started getting better medicine for it. Now it's just kind of something you can live with. The medicine prevents it from getting much worse. Some of the medicine has some nasty side effects. It's not fun. It's not good. But it's not going to kill you. It's not going to kill you. And so, lucky for him, he got it just at that time where, if he had gotten it a few years earlier, he may be gone already. But he is still with us. I believe it was the other brother who passed away, unfortunately. But all the other band members are still with us. Well, I say all the other band members are still with us. Actually, when it first started, there was a gentleman named John Kurliaszewski who was with them. I believe he has passed, but he left the band pretty early on. Now, I have to tell you, I'm a big fan of Styx, and I actually liked it when he was in the band, John Kurliaszewski. They had a couple albums, 2-3 albums before he left, and there's some pretty good music on those albums. He was pretty good. So, most of the other original members, though, are still living, and only one of them has left the band, and that is Dennis DeYoung. He's left, come back, left, come back, left, come back, and now he's left, and he's probably pretty much gone for good. It is kind of a shame. He's one of the better band members. He's their keyboardist, and he does some of the vocals as well, and he's really good. The keyboard is one of the things that makes Styx stand out as kind of a little bit of a different band, makes them a little more original. I would compare them to a band like Rush. Rush is much more famous than Styx. Styx is pretty famous, but Rush is much more like worldwide famous. And one of the things that Rush does a lot of is focus on the keyboards. In fact, it's one of the reasons why a lot of people would call them progressive rock. Progressive rock, that's like a rock band that's doing, some things that are a little different. So that's what Rush does. They're pretty much just a rock band. It's just good old-fashioned classic rock and roll from Rush. But they do a little bit of different stuff so that people will kind of consider them to be a progressive rock band. And one of those things they do that's a little different is a lot of focus on the keyboard. Styx does that as well. So it's kind of a shame that Dennis DeYoung has left because he was their keyboardist. Obviously, since he's left, they got a new keyboardist in there. But the new guy, he's okay. If you know how to play the keyboard, you can manage, right? But he's not as good as Dennis DeYoung was. Dennis DeYoung was very creative, very smart. The problem with Dennis DeYoung was that he always wanted to do it his way, and of course, as the person that made them more of a progressive rock band, because he was the keyboardist, he was always looking to do that. Whereas some of the other band members wanted to be more kind of hard rock, like a really heavy sound to their music, like James Young and Tommy Shaw, who are the other two lead guys with the band. And they've been there almost since the beginning. Tommy Shaw did come in a little bit later, but James Young, I believe, has been there since the start. So, I believe the Panozzo brothers were also there from the start. So those are the two that have been there the whole time. The three, really. But again, I think one of the Panozzo brothers passed away recently. So it's really just the two of them. James Young and one of the Panozzos. Again, I'm not sure which one is still with them. I want to say John, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, so they've been around for a long time, since the 1960s. And again, like I said, their genre is mostly progressive rock, but they do have a bit of a heavier sound. When you hear this song that we're going to do today, Miss America, you'll hear that it's kind of almost like heavy metal. It's not quite that loud and strong as maybe a normal heavy metal song would be, but it's certainly a little heavier than you might think of for just a standard classic rock song. It's pretty heavy. So you'll hear that in today's song that we're going to do. And they have a lot of songs like that. For example, one of their most famous songs is probably Renegade, which is also quite heavy. That's almost like a heavy metal song as well. Again, not quite. I wouldn't call that heavy metal, but it's a pretty hard rock song. That's Renegade. I recommend you listen to it. It's a fun song. It's a good song. If you like that type of music, it might be a little heavy for some of you. But if you like that type of music, go check that song out. But because they do have this progressive rock thing going on too, they have a lot of songs which are softer, more kind of melodic, more interesting even because of some of the keyboard stuff they do. Like in Castle Walls, that's one of their songs. There's a lot of great keyboard work. Come Sail Away, that's one of their softer songs, also very famous. It's a very popular song by them. Babe is another really kind of soft song by them. So they have this whole range of music that they do. It's one of the reasons why they're one of my favorite bands. They have all kinds of different music they do. From this kind of soft, what we call ballads. A ballad is kind of a soft rock kind of song. They have these ballads, and then they have this almost bordering on heavy metal music. They go the whole range. And, a lot of bands do that. They'll have some range. But, there's really a focus. For example, you take a band like Metallica, who you might have heard of. They're quite famous. They're almost all heavy metal. They do have a couple of ballads, but it's almost all heavy metal. What I love about Styx is it's not almost all one thing and then just a couple of the other. No, they have several ballad songs like Come Sail Away, Babe. Castle Walls is a little more interesting. I'm not sure if you'd call that a ballad, but you might. That's kind of in that same kind of genre there. So they have a bunch of songs that fit into any of those categories. So it's a really interesting band. And again, they've been around since the 1960s. And they're still out there performing. They get pretty old, as you can imagine. Some of the original guys, like James Young, who is their lead singer and lead guitarist, he even looks old. I've seen them perform, not too recently, but about 10 years ago maybe. And yeah, he's getting pretty old. But he's still out there. He's still going. So they're still out there performing. Okay, so for today's song, as I said, we're going to do Miss Amerrica. So, what's that song about? It's kind of about, I don't want to say fake beauty. It's, the person like that they're singing about is actually beautiful. But it's about, we have all of these beauty pageants, and actually they're more famous here in Thailand than they are in America. Most Americans don't really follow beauty pageants, but we have a lot of them here in Thailand. We even have a lot in Thailand for men as well. We have beauty pageants for men and women here in Thailand, and they're pretty popular here. But what we're talking about here is we're talking about how that's not always a good thing for the performers because they're having to put on this performance and it's difficult. It's difficult. But they always have to smile, pretend they're having a good time. And so it's not an easy thing. So it's not necessarily fake beauty, but it's kind of like fake enjoyment. Are they really enjoying that? They're basically just showing off their looks. Most of these beauty pageant contests, they do ask questions, so they do try to judge you on your intelligence as well. But that usually comes like in the last round after you've already made it there. So they're just judging you on your looks, mostly. Which is really kind of, as much as I know they're popular here in Thailand, in some ways that's really kind of gross, right? That they're judging you just based on how you look, and not based on your personality, your attitude, your intelligence, things like that. It's very shallow. It's not really a good thing. I know we enjoy it because it's nice to look at the beautiful people. So I know we enjoy it here in Thailand, but really when you think about it, it's not so great. And that's kind of what this song is about. It's about the bad side of those beauty pageants. All right, so let's get to the song now. And as always, for those of you that are joining us on YouTube, because of copyright issues, we can't embed the video. So we're going to give you a link in the upper right corner. You can click on that and then just come back here for an analysis of the lyrics after the video is over. So just go ahead and click on that and then come back here. And for those of you listening by streaming or on the radio, we're going to embed that song right now. So you should be able to listen to it just fine. All right, so let's get to this song.
Musical musings, musical musings, musical musings, musical musings.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. All right, so this song is, again, about these beauty pageants. A lot of songs aren't really about what they sound like they're about. This one pretty much is. It's about Miss America. It's about the Miss America contest. And you probably know this since, like I said, these beauty pageants are more popular here in Thailand, but most Thai people are familiar with Miss Universe. So Miss America, the person that wins Miss America, would be the American person who gets entered into the Miss Universe contest. So this is part of the same overall beauty pageant. It's like this is like the first level it's probably not the first level. Because they have each state as well. So they have a beauty pageant in each state first, and then, the state person goes on to the Miss America competition, and then you select Miss America. So it's not the first step, but it's the step before Miss Universe. So what they're singing about here with Miss America is the person who would then go into the Miss Universe contest from America. All right, so there are a few phrases in this song that are going to be a little bit tricky to understand. In fact, right in the very first line, it says, "You were the apple of the public's eye." What does that even mean? The apple of the public's eye? An apple is a fruit. What the heck does that mean? Okay. When you say that you are the apple of someone's eye, I'll be honest with you, I don't even know where that saying comes from. That is a weird saying. But what it means is that person really loves you. They are devoted to you. They are dedicated to you. They're always watching out for you. So when this says you were the apple of the public's eye, it means that the public loves you. They're always watching you. They are really devoted to you. Okay, so that's Miss America. Everyone's paying attention to her. So you were the apple of the public's eye as you cut the ribbon at the local mall. Okay, that's another line which might confuse you. Cut the ribbon at the local mall? What does that mean? All right, so one of the things that a lot of beauty pageant winners will do is they will open up. They will be there for a ceremony where they're opening up like a new store or something like that, or a new park, stuff like that. So when there's something new going on, yay, we're going to have a celebration. For the grand opening of this. And so what they do is they a lot of times will have this ribbon. So like this big long piece of whether it's paper or cloth or whatever, with words on it a lot of times that says, grand opening ceremony or whatever. So it's to be this big long piece of paper, piece of cloth, whatever, with this writing on it maybe. They don't always have to have writing on it. Some of them don't. And it's like blocking the entrance. And so what they do is they cut it to allow you to enter because the ribbon is blocking the entrance. It's the grand opening, so it's just kind of a ceremonial thing they do. You have the ribbon blocking the entrance. We're having our grand opening, so you cut the ribbon so you can go in there. And a lot of times what they will do is they will have like these beauty pageant winners perform this ceremony. So that's what it's talking about here, as you cut the ribbon at the local mall. So it's like a new mall. It's a new mall. Miss America goes there to cut the ribbon for the grand opening. That's all that's saying. So you were the apple of the public's eye as you cut the ribbon at the local mall. A mirage for both you and us. How can it be real? Okay, so what does that mean? All right, a mirage. A mirage is when you see something that isn't really there. It can happen a lot in the desert. In fact, it's very much known for being a desert thing. When you talk about a mirage, you're probably talking about the desert. So what happens in the desert is the heat can create weird things that happen with the air that can distort what you see, so you might see something that's not there. Plus, when you're in the desert, the heat can also affect you, so you have this combined effect. You have two things going on at once there, and so it's really easy to see stuff that's not really there. So that's what a mirage is. A mirage is when you see something that's not there. So it says a mirage for both you and us. What it's saying is that this is kind of all fake. Again, it's not really fake beauty. It's fake presentation. I mean, this person, this Miss America, is not just about her beauty. But that's all they make it about. That's all they make it about. That's why they have like the swimsuit competition portion. Put her in as little clothes as you can put her in before it becomes inappropriate. And look at how pretty she is, how sexy she is. That's what they're talking about here. So it says a mirage for both you and us. How can it be real? In fact, the very next line talks about her body. It says, we love your body and that photograph. Your home state sure must be proud. The Queen of the United States. Or have you lost your crown? Okay, so again, we talk about the body. We love your body in that photograph. So it's all about physical beauty. Nothing about anything more than that. Nothing about her intelligence. Nothing about her personality. None of that. Her body in the photograph. That's what we love. And it says your home state sure must be proud. As I explained, they all compete among the states. So the Miss America is going to come from a state. So your home state sure must be proud. The Queen of the United States, we don't have. What we call a beauty pageant winner is a beauty queen, and we don't have any monarchy in the U.S., so we don't have a king or a queen. So that's why they call her the Queen of the United States, because she's a beauty queen, and we don't have kings and queens. So effectively, she's the Queen of the United States. And then it says, or have you lost your crown? In other words, again, sometimes we get these bad things that'll happen with these Miss America winners. There could be scandal, like they do something they shouldn't do. And you know, it happens. They're humans. And sometimes the scandals aren't even that bad. Like if it was a normal person, like it could be, some sex scandal. They had sex with someone. Well, yeah, the Miss Americas are over 18. They're adults. They're allowed to do that. They're allowed to have boyfriends or whatever. So, yeah, that might happen. And it ends up being this big scandal. It's really bad the way they're treated. And that's kind of the point of that line, have you lost your crown? In other words, did you do something bad that you're now no longer the Queen of the United States? Okay, then we get to the chorus. And it doesn't, the chorus actually doesn't say much. It says, well, aren't you Miss America? Don't you Miss America? Won't you Miss America, our love? That's really all. Okay, so there's not really much there. It's just talking about Miss America. So we get to the next verse. It says, are you really who we think you are? Are you really who we think you are? Okay, that gets back to the same thing there, where it's all just about the beauty. So we don't really know who she is. We have no idea what's behind that beauty. Could be really great. She could be a wonderful person. Could be really bad. She could be a terrible person. We don't know. Are you really who we think you are? Or does that smile seem to wear you down? So again, this is about the fakeness of it. It's the smile wearing her down because, of course, she's the beauty queen. She has to smile every time she's in public, seem like she's so happy, enjoying herself. It's so lovely. In fact, at some of these competitions, they will actually put Vaseline, which is like oil, like really thick oil, on their teeth to force themselves to smile. They actually do that at some of these competitions. So they're always smiling, always got a smile. And so does that smile seem to wear you down because, you know, you're not really always happy and she has to pretend to be happy all the time. The girl who you once were is screaming to jump out. In other words, that's not really who she is. Before she was a beauty queen, she was just a normal girl. And that little girl is probably screaming to get out because it's so much pressure to be the beauty queen. It's a dream that you must live, a disease for which there is no cure. The roller coaster ride you're on won't stop to let you off. Okay, so those lines, a dream that you must live. Okay, so she's got to, she's doing this. She's got to do it. You know, once she's already involved in it, got to go through with it. So it's a disease for which there is no cure. I mean, this is just, so what they're saying is this is a bad thing for the Miss Americas. And it really is. They're always smiling. They always look happy, like they're having a good time. But it's like a punishment winning this competition. Because now you got all these things you have to do, and you always have to act like you're happy to do them. Smile all the time. So it's a disease for which there is no cure. And the roller coaster ride you're on won't stop to let you off because you got to do it. You have to. You're stuck with it for at least a year until the next year when there's a new Miss America. And they call it a roller coaster ride because it's up and down. Because sure, I'm sure there's going to be some times that are actually happy. Yes. I mean, you won the competition, right? Yeah, good thing. And it might provide you with some opportunities. You might be able to make a lot of money, have a good career after that. Maybe, depending on who you are. It might allow you a lot of money and a good career in the future. Maybe. So there are some good things. But there's also a lot of bad things. So it's up and down and up and down. That's why they call it a roller coaster ride. All right, then we get the chorus again. And then we go to the third verse. And we start out, well, it's true, just take a look. The cover sometimes makes the book. And the judges, do they ever ask to read between your lines? Okay, so once again, we're talking about just the beauty. Not getting any deeper than that. The cover makes the book. In America, we have a saying about not judging a book by its cover. In other words, someone could be different than they appear. We use it a lot of times with race. For example, in America, there are some people who are not very nice to black people. And they think, oh, they're always criminals, they're violent, blah, 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 whatever. And of course they're not. And that's what it means, don't judge a book by its cover. Just because the person is black doesn't mean that they fit what you think about black people. There are good and bad people in every society of every color. There are some very good white people. There are some very terrible white people. There are good Asian people. There are bad Asian people. There are good black people. There are bad black people. It's all the same. So don't judge a book by its cover. So what they're saying here is the cover sometimes makes the book, because that's what they're doing here. We're judging a book by its cover. Just look at the beauty. Look at her outside beauty. We're not going to talk about her personality, her intelligence, any of that. And the next couple of lines talk about that. The judges, do they ever ask to read between your lines? What it means there when it says read between your lines is to look any deeper. When we talk about reading between the lines of something, it doesn't usually mean this exactly. But that saying, to read between the lines, means that if you think about it literally, you're reading a book, so you read one line, you read the next line. There might be something that is implied or suggested that they don't actually come right out and say. That's what it means to read between the lines. We're not actually going to tell you this. Yeah. So, but you can figure it out from what we've told you. So you have to read between the lines. So that means to look deeper into something, to look further into something. Don't just take it for what you see. Look a little more deeply into it. So what this is saying is, do they ever ask to read between your lines? So probably, in other words, they probably don't. So again, it's the same story here. We're talking about just the physical beauty. That's it. The judges do not ever read between the lines. Okay, we continue on. And your cage at the human zoo, they all stop to look at you. Next year, what will you do when you have been forgotten? Okay, so same thing here. Same story. Your cage at the human zoo. So in other words, you're just on display for people to look at. They all stop to look at you. Yep, you're just there for people to look at. It's all about the physical beauty, nothing more than that. And then we finish up with next year, what will you do when you have been forgotten? Again, we do this every year. So, we have a new year. We have a new beauty queen. So now, we just throw you aside, and that's it. So that's what this song is all about. It's all about how we should not just judge someone based on their appearance. They may look different, but they're just normal. They may not look different, but maybe they are. And in fact, remember, I told you about one of the members of this band who had AIDS a long time ago. Just because of the way it originally spread. It was usually gay people who would get it. Not always. Certainly not always. There were straight people could get it. You could get it through drug use. You could get it if you're sick and you had a blood transfusion. But just more often than not, it was mostly gay people. And some people think that gay people look a certain way and they act a certain way. Well, this band member was gay, and he didn't look any different than anyone else. He just looks like a normal, just some normal guy, just some average guy. Didn't look any different than anyone else. So he looked normal, but well, I mean, I would still say that being gay is normal. It's just a variation of, but you know, for some people, they would consider that to be different because most people are not that way. So for some people, that would be considered different. And he didn't look different at all. He just looked like a normal person. He looked like the average everyday guy. So, you know, and that's what this song is about. Not judging people based on how they look. You might think a person looks normal, and they're not. You might think a person doesn't look normal. And they are. You got to get to know them. Their personality, their attitude, their intelligence. You got to get to know someone. Don't judge someone based on how they look. And that's what this song is about. And it's using Miss America as just as an example. It's not, I don't think this song is really tearing into beauty pageants. I mean, that's a weird thing to make a song about, right? I don't think that's really the point here. They're just using that as an example, as kind of an obvious example, especially back when this song was written. Since this song was written, they have tried to make it a little bit more about personality. They haven't done much to do that. They're still pretty similar to the way they used to be. But back then when this song was written, they were even more like that, where it was just about the beauty. Hardly any questions would be asked. We don't care about your intelligence. We don't care what you're going to say. We don't care if you have a thought in your head. How sexy are you? That's all it was. Those were the beauty pageants. So I think they're just using this as an example, really, because it's a very good example, because it is a good example, because like I said, the beauty pageants back when this song was written used to be even worse than they are now. So all they're really saying is to not judge things based on what they look like. Don't judge people based on what they look like. Get to know them. That's what this song is about. That's what this song is saying. All right, so that's it for this song. And I would recommend, as I always do, for you to go onto YouTube and go check out more of their songs. Again, the band name is Styx, S-T-Y-X, not Styx, S-T-I-C-K-S. No. S-T-Y-X. They have a ton of great songs. This, to me, is one of the most underrated bands ever. Ever. I think they're almost as good as Rush. They're a similar style, and Rush is extremely popular. One of the most popular bands probably ever in the whole world. I know sometimes a lot of Western bands don't get popular here in Asia, so I say Rush is one of the most popular bands ever, and you might be thinking to yourself, huh? I never even heard of them. That is possible. That is possible that a lot of you have not heard of Rush. But I'm just telling you that, yeah, Rush is one of the most popular bands ever. I would put Styx almost right there on their level. I think the problem Styx has is because they're not quite as good as Rush, even though they're really close, because their style is so similar, it really positions them way below Rush as far as in people's minds, because, if you're going to go for that style of music, why not just go for the best one? So everyone's going to go for Rush instead. Even though Styx is really close second. Doesn't matter. Just go for the best one. So everyone goes for Rush. And so Styx gets really downgraded because of that. I believe it's because of that. I'm not really sure. I don't know why they're not more popular. Because I think they're a phenomenal band. I think they're fantastic. One of the best bands out there. So I would recommend that you go listen to some of their songs. They've got some great songs. As I said, if you like the heavier style music, like this song, maybe go check out Renegade. Another really strong song by them. If you prefer to listen to some softer music, go check out Come Sail Away, Castle Walls, Babe. Those are some other good songs. They have some that are kind of in between, too. Like Grand Illusion. That's one of their more popular songs. That probably leans toward the softer side, but it's not as soft as like Come Sail Away or Babe or one of those songs. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any of their other songs. but there are, but I'm thinking of their albums, like Pieces of Eight is one of their albums, and I know there are other good songs on there. Sweet Madam Blue, another good song. That's more of a ballad. That's one of their softer ones again. I'm trying to think of one of their heavier songs, and I know there's one on, I believe it's on that same album. The name of it escapes me, though. But like I said, just go on YouTube. Listen to some more of their songs. Great band. One of the best bands ever, in my opinion. And they don't get enough credit. And I think it's because they get compared to at least one band who was just outrageously great, and that's Rush. And because they get compared to that, you know, it's like if someone offered you 1,000,000 baht and then someone offered you 100,000 baht, you're going to take the one that's offering you 1,000,000 baht, right? Even though 100,000 baht would be really nice. It's kind of the same deal. So everyone kind of ignores Styx because you have bands like Rush out there who are one level above that. And so Styx ends up getting ignored, even though they're a phenomenal song. A phenomenal band, sorry. So, yeah, go check them out. All right, thank you all for joining us today for our musical Musings program. Please stay with us now, and make sure you tune back in next week for another great song. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Musical musings, musical